Here is another problem that is factor by grouping. Whenever you see 4 terms, 1, 2, 3, 4, you should look to see if it's factor by grouping. And what I mean by grouping is I'm going to group the first two, and I'm going to group the second two. All right, I like to use red and blue like Spider-Man, factor by grouping. Now when I look at the first group, what can I divide out of the first group? I can divide out a 5 out of both terms, and I can divide out an x. Can I divide a y out of both terms? I have a y here, but do I have a y here? No. So 5x is my greatest common factor with the red group. And when I factor it out, what am I left with? All right, let's divide 5x out of the first term, 5xy, and I'll be left with just a y, minus, divide a 5x out of 15x, and what am I left with? 3, and then the x factors out, so it's just y minus 3. Right. Now, super important, I need to bring down this sign right here. This sign is a negative, I need to bring down a minus. Okay, now when I look at the second group, when I look at the blue group, what is the greatest common factor of the blue group? What can I divide out of both of those terms in the blue group? And the answer is 6. Now, because of this minus out front, I'm actually going to divide out a negative 6. Okay, my leading term of these two blue ones was negative. I'm going to divide out a negative 6. Let's see what's left over. When I divide out a negative 6 from negative 6y, I'm left with just a y. And now when I divide a negative 6 out of plus 18, right? I'm dividing 18, a positive by a negative. When I divide a positive by a negative, I'm going to get a negative. 18 divided by 6 is 3. Okay, so once again, when I look at this and I look at this, what do they both have in common? They both have a y minus 3. And if I take that y minus 3 and I pull it out in the front, let's see what I'm left with, right? It would be gone here and it would be gone here. I would be left with a 5x minus 6. So when I divide the y minus 3 out in front, 5x minus 6 is what I'm left with. And that's it. All right, if you want to check it, you could FOIL these two out. And if you FOIL these out, you should end up getting what you started with.